So it definitely pays when you are starting a craft or doing something you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So you got to pay attention to what's already out there, do a little bit of research, and then of course everything's always trial and error. And then just consistency to keep doing it, and then you'll grow, right? Whether it's internally, your product, your service, what have you. So something I say that because I always have the camera front facing so I can see myself and like in selfie mode. And that always causes a reflection in my glasses. So I am thinking and hoping, based off of watching another YouTuber and listening to some other or watching some other podcasts, that this does the trick. It is a little awkward because I can't see myself, but that doesn't really matter in the end. So what's most important is the message, and that it's resonating with somebody out there, and that I'm sharing my experiences with health and fitness and just my personal journey in that and life. So today, what was top of mind for me is I really noticed it just ever since ending the fitness coaching program. It was for so long. It was for a year and 3 months. And this was with weekly check-ins and having just an accountability partner that was my online coach. I didn't touch base with her like all throughout the week. It literally was just once a week, but also sending in the pictures, sending in my averages on my macros and calories, plus my fitness, like what I did in the app and Trainerize each week, and her looking at all that stuff along with my sleep, hydration, and like I mentioned before, the check-in was 17 questions that I was answering on a weekly basis. I've gone from that to just I'm part of like a community chat, which I don't really get much into because I'm not really sure. I don't know what it's for necessarily, except maybe if I have a fitness question, but usually I've had them all answered thus far. So that's been a little weird for me to like jump into that chat. And then I get access to the Trainerize app, which I just really like, and I've become very reliant on it. Thus far, I like the process or the like habit it's created of looking at my workout and even just and seeing the progressive overload, seeing if I've PR'd, instead of having to write down everything. Although, like I've mentioned also before, I do have the habit tracker that is a tangible guide where you can write everything down. So I do want to eventually transition over to that. But I like that it's a bit of an accountability partner, just on a much smaller scale. But with all that being said, so another like statistic is that Americans, especially since we have like this obesity and being under muscled is like an epidemic in the United States, we're also really good at losing weight, especially now with every other person being on a GLP-1. But the statistic, what I'm going to get back to, is that we are really good at losing weight. We are horrible at maintaining it. And I think that comes down to consistency. And then also I'm realizing that food and nutrition and that component of health is so intertwined into your mental, like the mental aspect of it, and then also social and emotional. I've noticed for myself that, and noticed this for a while, but like I'm an emotional eater, definitely a sociable eater. If I'm in a large group of people or if there's a party or something, that's like my go-to is like, I'll try to stay away from the food for a little bit. And then once I just see what's there, like I'm never the type that can eat before or after. Like I'm definitely going to enjoy or at least try something that's there most of the time. Of course, it has to be like appetizing and something that I want to try. But usually I can find something, even if it's like fruit or cheese or crackers or something like that. But I'm also realizing on an emotional aspect that I think that that's how I kind of regulate and cope when I'm in social situations. It's almost filling up that void and that empty space with eating. And I think that's something that's just been ingrained in me since I was a child. When you sit down for dinner every night and it's like, oh, what do you talk about or say, even around your own family? I would always lean into, just eating. And then that's you participating, right, in that activity with your family. And then even as an adult now, holidays, everything is around food. So, and then that also brings me to the expectation that as a child, you can have dessert, a treat, a reward after finishing your food, or you can go play and do something fun after you finished your food. I was never the child. I remember I have a cousin and one of my sisters who they would sit there, food would be cold, everybody's off doing things, and hours later, and they're still at the table because they haven't taken a bite to try something new or to clear their plate, which they most likely were told that they had to do. So they would just sit there until like it was bedtime, which I don't know, what that says, but just conditioning around food, it's like you finish it and you get to move on to the next activity. So I've always, even as an adult, it stuck with me to like clear my plate. Those are some things I'm working through. But with all that being said, after reaching a milestone of losing 40 pounds plus, there's just something, you're almost like scared that you're going to go backwards, back to that place. And I feel like it can be almost kind of unhealthy, and I'm trying to navigate how to move forward and enjoy life and also be healthier without like beating myself up or having guilt or shame when I do indulge. And it's crazy because even in that 15 months, I did have times when I would indulge, of course, but I was able to track it and then counter back. So also in not tracking and maybe I moved too quickly into having like a free for all, but there is something to that where you're just so scared that you're slowly going to creep back up to that weight again. So I just wanted to kind of get that out there, express it, get it off my chest, because it's definitely been something that's kind of stressing me out lately. Because you have all these achievements, you learn so much, and then you're also scared of like becoming that person that you once were before. I feel like I would relate it to having an addiction to anything, I guess alcohol, or even in my sense, I guess food, to where you feel like you're going to relapse and end up back where you were. So just wanted to put that out there if anybody else is in the same boat. And then maybe if you have some ways that you worked through it, I'm definitely going to try to tackle and create some challenges or some ways that I can enjoy life and take what I've learned and kind of run with it without backpedaling. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for tuning in.